At least a year and a half. Yeah, it's pushing 2 years.
But the problem is I can't see anything outside. I can't see sidewalks. I can't see curves. I can't see anything.
Doing anything this time of year.
At least the probably want to at least get the inside stuff. Let's go.
Well, he's got free time.
Well, that's what he says.
These guys working.
Because I don't know if just I can send the guys and close it on. Finish, you know. That's what he was. I don't want to. Because that's the thing. Say, hey, I just want to get all these little questions.
The day of my projects, and he's going to see the whole way down to wear and tear.
Today.
Let's look at this clock. Can't find the mouse. Oh. What about this little box?
I looked over there, that's got the names in.
I don't know. Which one is me? Is this me?
Help the lady down. That's you, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. You're recusing of yourself, huh?
Took a hike.
My pen already.
Not many of us old dogs left, huh?
No.
Where the hell's Ferris?
I don't know.
I know. I
Vacation
know where he lives.
somewhere.
Ferris?
He wasn't even on the email.
Actually,
Oh.
he resigned.
He
Oh.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
why.
I did not
I'm
know
gonna go
that.
find him.
Yeah.
When?
December.
Oh.
We're just waiting for Kurt.
Yeah.
That step.
Yeah. Coming.
How you doing?
So we don't have Kurt's class here tonight.
No.
Why are you recusing from the last one? Why are you recusing yourself from the last one?
I represent the owner.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, not in this capacity,
No,
though,
not
but in another way.
Not in that.
Got it?
So, when we need two alternates, that's not a problem. We got two, okay?
We do.
But when we need one, which one are we gonna take?
Reg is
First.
the first one.
Okay.
Come in, so, yeah, I generally talk to him about that a little bit.
Okay.
So, Derek and I are alternates.
I don't know. There's a problem. We'll get it figured out later.
I was just mentioning to Marissa, Derek and I are alternates. Nobody's been assigned a permanency.
I think that's changed.
Maybe it has, like, by the common council has changed.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Am I an alternate or am I
I don't know.
Okay.
all?
If we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's a new year. Who knows?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, call the meeting to order for the City of Plattsburgh Planning Board, Monday, January 28th, 2019. We do have meeting minutes for consideration from the November 2018 regular meeting. Do I have any
I'm looking.
comments or questions?
So we have 4 people here tonight that were actually there, so we can approve without a problem.
There's no comments? Do I have a motion?
Motion
accept
to
this?
approve?
Motion from John,
Second?
second Marissa. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 1, planning board agenda item number 2018-19, 16 Pike Street. We do have a long form seeker. This is for historic site review, request to repair porch decking and pillars at 16 Pike Street. The applicant is Larry Beely, I apologize. And plan preparer is Mr. Beely. Thank you.
Back again.
Back again. You want to just sort
Okay,
of
Larry Beely, Peru, New York, and I was here last time. We had done some repairs, and come to find out it was a historic district, and the pillars didn't meet the criteria. So I went out and I went to Hazelton's, and I went to Adirondack Moldings, and I checked with the flagpole guy, Travis, I think his name is, or Danny Travis, I don't know, and none of them wanted to handle it. So that left me with your suggestion originally, which was to wrap it, and I'm assuming you're talking about wrapping it with flat stock. Or the other things I had is I went to Curtis Lumber and got several possibilities. And I put it up to you guys, which one you want me to do.
So the Curtis Lumber proposal is for,
There's 3 or 4 different configurations of pillars there. The one that I like the best is just this plain round 8-inch pillar. Be white, painted the same as the others, and that would be it.
Can you, we've got a bunch of pictures here, but can you, it's been a while, can you just refresh our memory on which pillars and porches we're talking about?
Okay, let me just.
Sure.
Okay, this is the side porches, this is the front porch, this is the one we're talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, the front porch.
so Mr. Belli, so on the screen here, this is the porch we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
and those are the 2 pillars that I replaced. And that you wanted to match the others, or closer to them. There's no way you're gonna match it, I can't find anybody that's set up to handle something like that.
And the other 2 pillars they're like
The
shaped
original.
like a clover,
Yeah,
sort of?
yes,
Okay. And they're wood? Yep. Okay.
You couldn't find anybody that would replicate those for you? No?
no, not locally, and I tried as far out as I could, I looked on the internet and I couldn't find anybody. And of course, you gotta remember, those are 150 years old. What was readily available then is no
Unique.
longer anywhere close to available.
So you also replaced the flooring, the
replaced
body
about
of the
4
porch,
About
right?
4 or 6 boards, I don't remember which it was.
Because I'm looking at that's clearly new wood right there in that photo.
On the
Yeah.
side, on the side of the porch?
Yeah, that was, I put the new facing board on there, and then there's about 4 porch boards that were replaced also. There was a rot on that end.
And of course,
it,
it's
then
right where it
the
gets
pillar
wet.
sat, and
Yeah.
the pillars themselves were rotten.
Yeah. Well, my gut feeling on this, I hate to say it, is it's gonna look really strange to have 2 circular columns and 2 clover columns. You know what I mean? I don't think that.
I replaced all 4 of them.
I
don't
would,
care.
as much as I'm not crazy about
Yes, she's-
vinyl, okay, or whatever, I think they have to match. And I'd love it if you could find somebody, but if Adirondack Molding and Woolworks isn't gonna do it.
Adirondack won't do it, and Hazelton won't do it,
Yeah, they're
and
pretty good,
the
too.
flagpole guy, I even tried him, and he doesn't want anything to do with it.
They're a strange shape, but that's kind of what makes them interesting.
Yeah.
My gut feeling is that all 4 columns need to be replaced.
Made
with-
like,
with similar, that they're all the same.
yeah, yeah.
And then we get rid of the strange little railing.
You don't want that gone?
We do want it gone.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, yeah, that you can't, that's not
Oh, those were
appropriate.
there.
It's not
Those have
a,
been there since, I think, 90 or something like that.
well,
They're not required.
no, they're not required, but we have the 1978 application to be on the register.
Yeah.
And in theory, they probably should not have been put up or were put up without a
They were
permit.
put up at the request of, I believe it was Mark Beebe. It was either Mark Beebe or Gary Baker, who were then building inspectors, and they did an inspection of the place, and they asked us if we would put those on because the names were somebody falling off the edge. So that's why, if not, if I don't need them, I'll take them off.
Yeah, they're really not appropriate. And we have a letter from the building inspector that says they're not needed.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, at that
They're
time,
not-
these
they're
two
not
were
high
the
enough.
They're not,
building
the
inspectors.
porch is not high enough to merit having to have
Yeah.
railings,
Yeah.
so,
So he's looking at this right here.
Yeah.
This is the one you said, the first one, right? You place all 4 and wrap with this. Is that what you're saying? All 4 of them?
These are a self-standalone poles. They're a
it's
structurally.
a
they're
structural
weight-bearing.
post.
Okay, good.
Yep,
No.
Okay.
So.
Porch
it's-
post and rail. All
So,
right.
so what I'm hearing, at least from a couple people on the board, is to replace all 4 columns.
yeah,
To match.
plain round column,
But he's
8 by
going out of
8,
his way doing 2 extras, so I think that's a deal.
yeah.
It's the best we're gonna get.
And you're looking at a plain, round column, you're not looking at
Yeah.
the fluted option.
Fluted,
or-
I'm not looking at fluted. I mean, the thing is,
No.
even though that's fluted, and it's nice it would be fluted, it's still not the clover. It's, you
So
know,
why bother with that?
So, and plain is probably better, and getting rid of the railing is better, and it'll make it
8-inch
as close as we
diameter?
can come.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
So we're looking at recommending all 4 columns to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
To be replaced with
The
plain
item
8-inch
item
rounds.
0004,
4.
plain round column, 8 by 8 perma
Perma
cast,
cast.
as quoted by Curtis Lumber.
Yeah,
Painted
Yeah,
white.
painted white.
painted
so that-
white, like the old ones were, yeah.
Okay.
And presumably they'll never rot.
And removal of the
I'm
cross
hoping.
member, right?
Yes,
there-
removal.
Removal of the cross member.
Is there any other comments or questions in this, for this application?
I have none.
None?
None.
If not, we do have a long form seeker
Yes, we do.
to consider. We have completed part 1.
Okay, got a bunch of corrections here.
Okay.
Upper section in B isn't filled in, that it needed to come in front of the planning board, so I checked on B, small b, the yes.
Page 2.
Yes, it's page 2 of 13,
Yep.
says planning board as of today.
Mm,
And then, I'm not sure, would the building permit itself from the building inspector be on here as well, as other agency? Or is that an assumed?
aye.
I think it's assumed, okay.
I
I
would
think
like,
it is.
And
yeah.
then, part C, this is a real common wrong answer. C1, this question, 99% of the time, the answer needs to be no.
no.
Because the only time you're ever gonna have yes on this question is when the city is trying to change one of its laws. And you're not trying to change a law, you're just
I
trying
just
to get your
wanna get the
porch
hell outta
fixed.
here.
Okay. So the answer needs to be no, we're not trying to amend a local law or ordinance, okay? And then part C2, it says, if no, proceed to C2 and complete all the rest of the things. So, do any comprehensive land plans include this site? And the answer is yes. So the answer is not no for C2A, it's actually yes. But there are no specific recommendations for your property. So you were not a problem child in the code.
I hope not.
And then page 3 of 13, yes, you're in R2, but you're also a historic district, which I would mention on page 3 of 13. And then I'm guessing that the rest of your answers regarding, animals and water and noise and are normal. You're not doing any of those things. You're not interfering with animals, okay? And then we get to the end where we have on page 13 of 13, the question of, are you on the National Register of Historic Places or in a historic district? And the answer needs to be yes. That was your surprise. You didn't know that, but the answer is yes. It's the Point Historic District, okay? And then I think you also, for this section, about halfway down, maybe not, is the project site visible from Lake Champlain?
No.
No, you're good. You're out of the way. Don't have to worry about that. And so those are the answers we need to change on your seeker, okay? No big deal,
Yep.
but corrects the record for the permanent files. So I'd like to make a motion to correct those answers, as I have suggested.
Second that.
Okay. We put that, is that part of the motion?
I'd
the
like to have
finding?
separate motion, if you
Separate
could.
motions?
Okay,
Okay.
can we just vote on that we've changed those answers?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay,
I think I have a
Yes.
first and a
Second.
second.
yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'd like to make a motion that after having corrected the answers, we find no adverse environmental impact on the long form seeker.
Second that.
Second,
All in favor?
yeah. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So now we have the application in front of us.
You're gonna do it.
I am, huh?
Do I have a motion on the application?
It's right
Yeah, I'll
here.
make a motion to approve with the condition that we utilize as proposed by the contractor, replacement of all four, not just the two that were just recently changed, all four of the posts with the item 0004 plain round, 8-inch by 8-foot permacast post as portrayed here from Curtis Lumber. And removal of the cross member, the railing at the bottom there. And,
I'll second
and the
that.
color?
White.
White, to match what you had existing. I think you got some of that existing on the other posts that are still
Yeah,
there.
white.
Further ways, yeah. Try to match them all, so.
Okay.
Second.
Second, Marissa. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm all done.
You're all done.
Amen, brother.
You're all
Amen.
So you do need to get a building permit, actually, okay? And so,
And ask your future,
I think you can
There you
wait till it
go.
warms up
yeah, and ask your future clients if they're in a historic district.
first.
Yeah, yeah, that'll save your butt.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll probably be back in a year to paint the building.
there you go, yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Thank you very much. Okay.
You guys are like tag teaming me. That was good.
Yeah.
Application number 2 is planning board application number 2018-20, 194 US Oval. Is this historic site review, request to replace existing freestanding sign with updated sign in the same location at 194 US Oval. We do have a long form seeker. The applicant is Kelly Lathrop. Lathrop. And plan preparer is Signs Now.
But I'm Sylvie Nelson. I'm the Executive Director of the North Country Workforce Partnership, and I am here as a follow-up to our meeting in November. The partnership owns the 194 US Oval. And as, if you recall, we wanted to redo our sign. We needed a GSA letter from the Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation.
That's why they're back.
So we seek that, we received it, I believe we sent you a copy. Everything according to them is acceptable, and so I'm just here to formalize our request and hopefully gain your approval so that we can update our sign in the spring.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have a picture of the sign. This is what you
Yes,
want.
that's what we are going to be
Is it
putting.
wood? Is it wood? Is it
I-
vinyl? Is it?
Yes, I believe it's wood. It's, what we're doing is we're actually keeping what is already there, and we're just gonna remove the inside of it with that new sign.
Okay.
But the frame of it is in wood.
Okay, but the sign that replaces it is also wood, not vinyl. That's what is there vinyl happening here? That's what we're trying to find out.
I know that there's, that's a good question. stipulates in the, but if it needs to be wood, then it'll be wood. Is that your
We
question?
would prefer
Is that-
wood.
Okay, and so let me make note of that. What if it cannot be wood? Do I have to come back here? I'm just asking.
I'm sure that they can do wood. Oh,
Okay.
maybe not. It's signs now. Well, you'd think they'd be able to do any kind of a sign. That's their
I'm
business.
not sure, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I've never really gone and touched the existing sign, sorry.
Okay.
So I'm not really even sure if it is presently wood or
Uh-huh.
not.
I don't know either. Driven by it many times, but I've never
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
paid attention.
Do you plan on matching similar colors?
Yeah, actually, we, it's just going to be matching what we have at our other centers. We, the One Work Source in Essex County just moved location.
Mhm.
So we want all our One Work Source signs to be the same. We renovated our One Work Source building in Franklin County in Malone, and so those two, Essex and Franklin County, those two signs match. So we want that to also match for branding of the centers in the region.
Is it pretty much black lettering with
Well, if you look at it, it's in color. This is green, actually, it matches our
Okay.
logo. It's a green.
We don't get color. We don't rate
I
color.
was gonna say,
Sorry,
ours
well,
is-
here, let me share with you
Okay.
my original
Skip the
copy.
color.
City can't afford
So
color.
you can kind of see
Yeah.
that it's green. It matches our logo. So, and it's kind of a greenish gray in the middle there.
Perfect?
That's nice. I like it. You like that?
That on?
That's
You
easier.
mentioned the landscaping.
Yes, I will.
All right.
If you need to keep that, you can keep that.
I think it's
Yes.
a good idea. Make it look nice.
Oh, yeah. So the lettering will be black if you look on the signs there.
Okay, one of the things we need to comply with is, and for whatever reason, when you were first given the sign permit, probably long before you, okay, when they first
Yeah,
put the
I'm
sign
sure.
there, you need to have some kind of landscaping underneath the sign, okay? Usually something perennial, short evergreens, something.
I
As
remember
opposed
you
to just
mentioning
grass.
that at the last meeting,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to, well,
In
unfortunately,
the
we're
spring.
gonna have to wait
Yeah.
until the spring. But
That's
yes,
fine.
I had
Oh,
made
yeah.
notes, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
make notes again.
but that's definitely a requirement. So is there any way we could actually call Kevin Susia, give him a call and ask him if he only does vinyl signs? So that we know right now? Could we?
Oh, well, I'm sure I don't know if I have his number. I
Okay,
mean,
well, it'd prevent you to have to come back again. I mean, we'd know for sure, wood sign, vinyl sign only, if the guy doesn't
Let
do
me see
wood
if I
signs
can
at all.
reach our finance director who coordinated the
Mhm.
whole thing. What's the name of the gentleman?
It says,
I don't know.
Kevin Susia at signsnow289.gmail.com and a phone number.
Okay.
I think the real question though is the board leaning towards that a wood carved
I'm
sign
leaning
is
toward wood
appropriate?
carved.
In this case, it's
It's-
typical that's, if somebody asks us, that's what we would request.
Yeah, and again, it's right on the
Yeah.
oval.
If, I
It's
mean,
not
if
it.
that's what the board is leaning towards, I don't know that I mean, even if Signs Now came back and said it's gonna be vinyl,
Yeah.
the board,
I'm
It
not,
would-
still not
isn't-
crazy about that. I mean, most of them, if you go around, I mean, you look at facets is wood.
Wood.
As you go around the oval, they're already all wood.
okay.
And I think it's appropriate and consistent and would prefer wood.
Okay, so I guess at this point, if
Yep.
you're open on your application to a wood carved sign, then that's something the board can consider here
I
tonight.
mean, I can ask for wood,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
That's not a problem, if that's what's required, that. and
Design
if
is
I-
not
like
too
The predecessor
complicated.
gentleman that was here, if I have
be
issues, I
done.
guess I can always come back.
yeah,
Because we can't be changing the sign until
Right.
probably April.
Yeah,
right.
you got
So,
time,
you got
yeah.
time.
Yeah, so.
And they
if
can
we-
make it.
If we run into an issue, I can certainly let you know. If
Okay.
not, well then, what it is.
Okay. Okay. Was there any other comments from the board, questions? If not, we do have, again, a long form seeker. Did we finish our motion? Okay. So we've, I guess, made the motion at the last application on the seeker.
Did we?
A lot of them did, if you can just double check the minutes, but I
Yeah.
certainly did, I remember adding it all and looking it up.
Okay.
Buried. You got yours handy?
I'm
We
looking.
need
Yeah, I
to
got them
check.
right. There you go.
2 seconds.
No, that's fine.
We did.
Yes,
We
we
had a-
changed answers.
There we
We
go.
did,
Yep.
we changed the
I
answer.
remember going through that.
We're good. So,
Yes.
So, we've been through the long form seeker, then we do have the application as presented and reviewed. Do we have a motion?
so,
Make
good.
a motion. Make a motion that we approve said project with the sign being replaced, being that the sign be wood, and include in the springtime
Shrubbery.
landscaping, shrubbery. Not, I know, we don't want to see annuals, perennials.
Yeah, it's perennials are preferred.
Perennials are
Yeah.
preferred.
Or it
Perennial
comes back.
something.
That'll come back
Kind
and
of-
last
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
you know? Something like that, make it look nice.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
anything else am I missing?
Just per the design.
For the design,
Yeah.
yeah, as proposed.
Color and style.
Yeah.
Color and style, thank
I
you, sir.
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Have a nice night.
I'm sorry, this
The second was Marissa. Okay. Application item number 3. This is planning board application number 2018-21, 424 Margaret Street. It's a revised sketch site plan review. Request to demolish the existing McDonald's restaurant and reconstruct a new McDonald's restaurant with dual lane drive-through. Additional site improvements to include new parking, trash enclosure, utilities, lighting, and landscaping. The applicant is McDonald's USA. Plan preparer is Bowler Engineering. We do have I believe corrected for the agenda, we do have a long form seeker with this.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Steve Wilson from Bowler Engineering. Thanks for having us. Happy New Year. I guess it's still not too late to say that. So since we saw you last, we provided a submission, which I think you have. Just to touch on that again, we provided a full environmental assessment form, revised building elevations, and a revised site plan to try to address some of your key comments from the November meeting. So I can kind of walk through things and our thinking and where we got, where we think we can be and make the site work and try to address your comments and so we can keep the process moving. So, we'll talk about the building first. So, the board had expressed concerns last time about it not fitting into a residential area, even though we have a mix of uses along this corridor. So what we've looked at is doing some type of hardy board siding on the building, run all the way up to parapets to give it a little bit more residential feel to it. Again, very neutral colors, very limiting on some of the bright yellows and reds, so it really makes the building much more neutral, and we think the hardy board siding provides a little more residential feel to it, perhaps fits into the neighborhood perhaps more than I think we showed you ephes before, and a little bit different treatment on the parapet.
And?
Oh, you want to go through the
Just
whole
keep
thing, or
talking.
just want to go through the building and?
Keep talking.
Side-
Keep cranking.
I'll
Yeah.
probably let you go through your full
All right.
presentation
spiel.
and then
Okay,
we'll.
I don't know if you want to go one at a time, fine, all right.
No, that's okay.
So then the site, I know the board had concerns about parking in the front setback, and the previous version had parking much closer to the street. And honestly, from a customer experience standpoint, it's important to have parking at the front door of the building. But we heard your concerns about having parking in the front driveway and the current buffer that's along the front of the building as it exists today. So what we've done is slid this back We pulled it out of the front setback and brought it the curb line to about 13 feet, which matches basically the existing width of the landscape buffer along the front of the store now. So we think we pulled the curb line back, and then we can add, as we get into the details of the process, some minor berming, some landscaping along there to kind of screen that parking area, in an attempt to address some of the board's concerns about parking in the front. At the same time, provide what's important parking. I mean, this is our front door. If we flipped all the parking back to here, kind of push the building forward, we'd essentially be asking the majority of our parking to kind of cut straight across the front of the drive-through to enter a door that's not really the front entrance. It is an entrance, but it's not the front door of the building. The board also asked to see a detail on the dumpster corral. We provide that on there as well, which is a Trex dumpster corral. And just from a graphic standpoint, just so it's clear, this is not all the dumpster. The dumpster is really just limited to this square right here. The rest of it's just a concrete pad in front of it for purposes of stable point for picking up the dumpsters. The last issue, I think last key issue is the issuing of a pedestrian crosswalk on Market Street. We certainly have looked at that, and right now there's crosswalks down here at the plant, which shows up quite well, and then there's one here on Margaret Street. So there's two within a 10-minute walk from the McDonald's as it exists today. So we kind of looked at it and didn't feel this project was a generator of pedestrian traffic.
No?
A generator of pedestrian traffic versus the residential properties across the street.
I think that you put it there and they will come. That's what I feel.
Even though we have a 10-minute walk to this one.
I don't like to walk 10 minutes more than I have to. That's me. I'm just throwing that out there, Bob.
Okay.
You're giving them easier access to get and buy goods from your restaurant. Oh, man. Put it in. It's business.
And those far exceed DOT's recommended distance between crosswalks.
Say again?
The 10-minute walk
Yeah.
is about 350 meters
Yeah.
is what they like to see between crosswalks.
As a minimum,
Yeah.
minimum.
No, that's about average.
Yeah.
They will go a little lower, but
Yeah.
roughly, yeah.
I don't know. Bring the business to there.
Okay.
How are the dump trucks that are gonna pick up the garbage going to back in there and get to that if people are parked in that area? Is there enough room
For them to do this.
to do
this
their
movement?
magic? Yeah.
Yes, there is. That's why we put it at the angle we do. We know exactly what the trucks are that are gonna come in there, so we wouldn't set it so that, he's not gonna sit here and wait for some cars to pull out here. He's got enough room to make it work.
I would just, well, shouldn't make any assumptions, but, so these are front loaders.
Yes.
So they're gonna pull in,
Pick it up,
front load.
dump it, go.
Okay, that's number one. And then I guess number two, does the owner schedule those at like a off-peak time? Is that normal?
That's a good question. I have to,
Always.
you know,
So
Early mornings and then.
so that kind of conflict is a little less.
Hopefully.
Is a little more
it's
mitigated.
not gonna be there
by-
when the drive-thru's full, it's
Correct.
during the lunch hour.
Yeah.
Um, One of my questions about the dumpsters, whether any consideration was given for an alternate location?
We look, we're running out of real estate fast between, trying to provide enough parking, and at the same time, we need to reserve space, showing the stormwater management areas that we're gonna need, as part of to meet our SWIP requirement. So
He's like,
wherever we start moving it, we're gonna start cutting into our parking count.
Corner.
Is there alternatives to stormwater management that might allow you to move that dumpster to, you know, the rear of the site? Like, once again, I've had a hard time finding a location where the dumpster is greeting your site.
Is what?
Is greeting the site. I mean, when you pull up, when you're pulling out from the city heading north, that's the first thing. Once again.
No, you know what it is, Jimmy? You've worked on other McDonald's sites before, correct? Yes? What you're used to dealing with is a thinner lot and a deeper lot, such that the whole project is turned 90 degrees from 3 o'clock to noon. And thus, it would be exactly what you see at most of your different McDonald's. I've never seen one like this, where it's laid out where the garbage is meeting you right there in the street, and you had that parking. In other words, the left side of your property there that we're looking at would be along Margaret Street, and that would look like every other McDonald's. If you turn that entire lot from 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that is more respective of what you've seen in most cases. And in that case, the garbage, the trash, would be in the back. You see what I mean? Keeping everything else the way it is. I'm looking at Burger King's, McDonald's, and they're all coming to mind right now. The only thing that reminds me of a little bit is Chick-fil-A right now, over in Plattsburgh, town of Plattsburgh. So,
Even
and that's part of the problem. That's why the trash is right up front. You can't put it on the other side, but can you put it perhaps in the bottom right-hand corner of that property there? You could, bottom right-hand corner, right over there, yeah.
Well, that'd be the first thing I see as I drive up
Yeah,
the
and
site then.
I'm just throwing things out because you got two ponds over on the other side, but we could always put that below
You think this would
grade.
be a better spot than?
I don't know,
Oh.
I'm not at the site right now.
Oh.
Yeah. I only get over there maybe once every couple of weeks, so I don't know.
Once again, is there alternatives to consider for the stormwater management so you don't have open ponds on both corners? Where you could-
Underground.
Yeah, where you could move those dumpsters. That would be something I'd ask that you consider.
Subgrade stormwater retention and infiltration chambers, those chambers. Can't remember what the hell they were.
Those kind of practices get quite expensive.
Well,
In,
you're on the edge of the lake, so, yeah.
I was gonna say, in a more urban, small lot setting,
Mhm.
something that sometimes comes into consideration. Once again, with that said, I just can't quite picture that arrangement like that with the dumpsters in front. The parking, I guess I'd have to see a little bit more of the landscaping plan on how that, I can picture that. What you're saying is back, we don't have that plan in front of us, but, that you're planning on somehow berming that with some landscaping. I can personally picture that a little more so.
Okay.
Than as originally presented. There was some, in the original letter, there was some coordination with the building department on waterfront overlay and signage, as well as another bullet item about coordination with other city departments. Has there been much of that, or do you?
A little bit on utilities, we're talking to them about our new water and sewer connections, but we certainly coordinated too with the inspector on the zoning issue with and we're following it the best direction we have. It seems that section of the code is still missing and no one can find a, so that was our attempt. We pulled everything we could out of the setbacks as much as we could, and we're down to but a little bit of encroachment here in this setback, which is less than currently exists, which is about.
So do you currently still require an area variance from?
We require an area variances for signage and green space and this encroachment, the 2-foot encroachment in that side yard. Yes.
Okay. Which you outlined on your seeker,
Yeah.
your new seeker form. I guess ultimately I would ask that you continue coordination with the building department on that. They were still in talking with the department, they still had, I guess, some question on that, but.
Site lighting. Can you elaborate a little bit on the site lighting?
There'd be parking lot lighting, LED, dark sky friendly fixtures with cutoffs. We could provide a plan. It would probably be close to zeros along the property lines. Maybe not along the front. It's usually because we like to light the entrances, but we provide a full lighting plan. I think that could. It's certainly gonna be better than what's there now.
Yeah, I say that with respect to the residential property to the south of your site.
Yeah, I don't see a problem there, especially since we have a wall there that's gonna act as quite a bit of prevent spillage.
Correct.
So, but yeah, we provide a full lighting plan, photometrics to show that, that layout.
So the current site has some picnic space on the lake side of the property. Will the new site continue to have picnic space and so you can sit on the lake?
Talk about that one, Al, you wanna?
Those are just freestanding picnic tables
Yeah,
right
so-
now. There's no plan to put,
Anything more elaborate, I guess.
yeah, more elaborate, you know.
Picnic tables would
seating.
stay.
Okay.
It really depends on where the project goes, what we can do.
Sure.
Um,
Outdoor seating is something you'd consider?
uh, We consider it.
Beyond picnic tables?
You know,
Well, I don't know what McDonald's typically does for outdoor seating, but you're in a gem of a location on our lake, right? So I think you'd have a lot of people that'd be interested in grabbing lunch and being able to sit on the lake.
yeah, we'd have to look at how the site ends up coming out and
Sure.
whether it's roam. Obviously, safety issues are
Okay.
usually the biggest concern with that.
And I can't picture.
And it also brings in accessibility issues as well. Once we provide that outdoor seating, it has to meet accessibility guidelines as well, so that can be challenging along the lake shore, but we can look at it.
And I can't picture what on the lakeshore is there now. But I'm trying to. Are there trees that would be removed on the lakefront?
There's a series, there's some larger trees that are reaching their end of their life cycle, so to speak. They're becoming a real maintenance issue for McDonald's, so we'll be looking to take some of those down. And then kind of in this end, there's a little more brushy, some low-lying stuff that they look to clear out as well. And then we create, I think, a more consistent landscape plan along that edge.
So I guess it'd be nice to consider making that accessible, right? As a place to eat. Did the site in the 2011 floods, spring and fall, receive any damage from the hurricane, tropical storm Irene, or the snow melt event in April of 2011?
Basically, the garage was under 2 feet of water, but the restaurant itself didn't receive any damage. It was close, but.
So I haven't done
The
it.
guy next to you has something to say about it.
Yeah. So I haven't done a comparison of the grading plan of the, you know, from the old to the new to know if there are any modifications to try to prevent that.
Well, we're out of the floodplain line, more kind of follows, it's a little bit in the site from the tree line. Puts that line pretty much right through there. So we're well outside that floodplain. Yeah, we'll look during the grading plan to make sure that, you know, if there's a belt and suspenders we can do in terms of how we laid the site out, the finished floor elevation, we set the building. We'll absolutely look at that.
And then, so Margaret Street there on your side of the street now has a bicycle lane along Margaret, and that street is working hard to come up to complete street standards. It may actually be there at this point, but I guess I'm curious about bicycle access to the site and visibility from the two entrances, because it looks like there's some signage right there at the pull and put outs that I don't know if would impair vehicles from being able to see bikers going. There are lanes on both sides, so they're only traveling north on your
Right.
side. So I guess I'm just asking to consider visibility there and signage at the entrance, both of the entrances.
I mean, this would serve as a link that people could come in you know, have to walk their bikes across, but that provide the connection.
Well, they'll
to the
be on
building.
your side of the street, right? Because there's a lane there on the McDonald's side. But I haven't, you know, it looks here like a sign at each entrance, and it's difficult to see the size of those, so I'm thinking about
Well, those are
visibility.
So you're talking about directional signs? like-
Max
Yeah,
2
entrance
square
and
feet.
exit signs.
That's
Okay,
the-
so those are the
Entrance
small
exits,
ones.
yeah.
Exactly,
Okay.
3 feet or so.
And then is there a bicycle pad for people that are biking in and want to store a bike somewhere and lock it up?
The current
While
plan
they
doesn't
sit
show
outside
one,
and eat
but
lunch?
I don't think adding a bike rack would be a problem.
Typically like to do
Yeah,
that if
exactly.
we can,
Mhm.
that's something we look to do.
Yeah.
If,
Okay.
It's possible, we'd like to.
Certainly on that.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Yeah, some of these directional signs, one of them identifies the McDonald's logo. Do the other, like the drive-through sign, will that have your logo represented on it?
When you mean drive-through sign, what do
Well,
you?
this,
Reserved for drive-through?
yes,
No, those don't typically have it, those ones that they sit here.
okay. So the only directional sign with your logo will be that smaller one.
Street sign.
Yeah, well, the street sign, yes, and then the directional as you enter the site.
Yeah.
The low ones.
Okay.
Does the board feel, do we have sufficient information to at least start seeker, such as lead agency coordination?
I'm still uncomfortable starting seeker when we're not even really sure that that dumpster's gonna be there.
Okay.
We're not real happy with that. And a few more questions to answer. I'm not ready to dive into a seeker halfway or anything tonight.
What,
Can I ask a question about your directional signs to refresh my memory? Isn't directional sign maximum 2 square feet?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this directional sign. Is this one of the variances you were thinking about getting? It looks like it's, again, 3 feet by the tiniest font possible, 3 feet by 1.5 feet and 2-sided, right?
That sounds right, that's the version we show there. We do have some flexibility on that if
2 square feet
2
is-
square feet gets below variance.
That, yeah, 2 square feet, and you have to count both sides if it's 2-sided. So you're talking variance if you want something very big.
I think ultimately that does go back to our original recommendation from November, coordination with the building department in terms of
More coordination.
more coordination.
With him.
Signage,
Yep.
laws to ensure compliance, you know. And
I'm thinking
obviously.
you
if
probably got distracted by the waterfront overlay lack of information, okay? Where, you know, you're working on that,
We
working on
talked
that.
about signage, he
Yeah.
hadn't brought up that issue with the,
Well-
we talked about the freestanding, the wall signs, but he didn't mention anything about the directionals in our discussion.
Yeah,
but
the
okay,
directionals
we'll
have a
talk
max
about it.
size, so that's important.
Okay.
As far as lead agency status,
Apparently we have it, it's been granted.
Eva, can you
For the
summarize
record.
where we stand with that?
Yeah, so I sent around a statement saying that the city would take lead agency.
Oh, you already did that, I misunderstood then, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's been done and
All right,
30
then-
days have passed, so.
Oh, okay.
So we're good. We
All right,
are.
I got you.
We are lead.
All right,
As far as actually completing the review though, I think.
that I wasn't necessarily expecting, I wasn't aware that you'd actually gone so, that's great. That gets a step out of the way and just keeps things moving, fine,
Yeah.
that's all I was looking for, I guess, so.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, one
So-
item which we probably should go back to real quickly is the building elevation. I don't know if anybody,
I just want to confirm on the site though, then,
sure.
we want to add a bike rack, we need to talk to the building inspector about what's allowed for directional signs. You want us to look at possibilities for outdoor seating. And we are gonna continue to take a look at the dumpster corral to find a better location that we would see. It fits better on the site.
I was gonna say, after we take a look at the building elevation, I'll probably go back down through the original letter that we submitted in November, and then you've outlined a couple of the extra items.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm actually with the balance. I'd like to ask the dumpster location.
Mhm.
If the dumpster corral was more in line with the building construction, it was less noticeable, you're not gonna see the dumpster.
Mhm.
Currently, you're gonna see a corral with trucks that, you know, to go through trying to find an alternate location could be very cumbersome, very, cost ineffective. If there was an alternative enclosure that was more in line with the building facade or the building exterior, would that be less opposed?
I think I'll give my
My
response.
feeling is
and then
probably
you can-
yes, but since we have nothing to visualize here.
Yeah.
Except looking down at this diagram that it says dumpster.
Uh,
And, not enough for us
I was gonna say, for me, that's sort of where I go too, is other than the black and white two-dimensional detail and, once again, the flat site plan, I don't have an actual picture of what that'll look like,
So it's something more visually appealing, an enclosure is more visually appealing, that doesn't scream out, whoa, this is the dumpster.
Yeah.
You guys would be more in line.
Well, one of
I'd
the,
have to really see it, you know what I mean? I mean, if you look at dumpster enclosures in the rear of sites, they're usually in the rear of the
Well,
site
the rear of the site, they're one thing.
for a
I know what you're
reason.
saying. In the front of the site, if it was more along the facade of the building, if it blended in better.
Or if you had, some type of screening around the whole, perimeter of the drive-through, once again, almost blends it in where it looks
No,
like
that'd be-
it's part of the
And
building.
again, I
but
think we
it's-
could show that when we provide a landscaping plan. I mean, that island would be landscaped around the dumpster, so, again.
I think it's also important to recognize the fact that this site, from the public view, you're looking through the waterfront overlay district, which the intended purpose of the waterfront overlay was to give the people in the public way an opportunity to view, in this case, Lake Champlain or Plattsburgh Harbor, which is a National Historic Site. So if we're gonna encumber our view of the lake by a dumpster, I don't think it speaks well of, the whole process, honestly. I think we should be able to mitigate that to some degree.
I think we can. I mean, the current dumpsters are there now and not in a corral, so I think we can improve whatever the current situation is.
Yeah.
The one other thing I always envision is the seagulls. You know what I mean? And,
Well, there'll be the picnic tables too.
Yeah, but depending on the
fries,
time of
yeah.
year, you know what I mean? You have the
Birds are
dumpster
well
right there
fed
in front
over there.
and just a flock of seagulls and,
Yeah.
The geese.
I'm sorry, for the record, could I get your name, sir?
Sorry, Al Rogazzoli,
I'm sorry, can you spell that for me?
That's how it sounds.
BURGAZOLI.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, I guess the one other item was the elevation, and you showed this real quickly. I wanted to make sure that the board had opportunity to review.
I like the fact that this is more open and inviting, and yes, it looks commercial. It's a commercial use, okay? But it's not so much of a box. That first view.
The first rendering, you mean?
Yeah, it's not good. Okay.
So my recollection of the first rendering was similar to this, except it was more brick
Yeah.
in style, I believe.
There's some ephes on there,
And-
parapets were different, yeah.
Okay. And this one is once again, a change in,
Clapboard.
yep, finishes.
Looks good. I like
Yeah.
that. I like this. It's nice.
Variations.
I can't do that up there.
Is there any opportunity in the design to break that up from a box where you might have some, you know, some different ins and outs on the building to, once again, take it away from just a box with
You saying,
canopies. Well, I
the field of the building, break that up?
yeah, like, you know, something where you have some, some ins and outs on the building. It's not just a straight box.
Where'd you get that picture from?
That's right off the internet. Yeah.
We'll take a look.
Where'd you get it?
I don't know, maybe the board can see
Internet.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, see,
Once again,
Yeah.
yeah, you're playing with stuff, that's nice.
I mean,
It's still a box, but it's got some flair to it, you know?
I was gonna say, actually, in looking at that layout, it has identical door placements.
Ah,
You know,
It's an old building style, but
That's an
we
old
see your
building
point
style?
about, or we see what you're trying to get at and trying to break up the field, but we'll take a
it's
look.
something,
and see.
take a look. I mean, if you can,
I remember
Again,
when
it's-
Route 3 came before the board, you know, our emphasis was that big slash or eyebrow that they called it.
The eyebrow,
At the
yeah.
time, and, you know, on the parapet was that, you know, product identification. And at the time, it was introduced as one. And so we had to look at the parapet was the sole purpose of it to house the signage. And that's a whole nother debate, but.
It was a zoning debate.
The emphasis of the argument was completely different than what it is today.
Okay.
okay. Any other comments in regards to the elevation? No?
So I think if we go through the
That's what I was
checklist,
gonna do.
I
Yep.
think we can give you your homework assignment for the next time around, and
all right.
So, you're gonna go through you're looking at.
I
was
don't
gonna
have
just-
that. At least I don't think I have that.
No?
It should be.
We going through this, site plan information required?
I think that, I mean, generally gives you a general outline of things. I was gonna give you a more specific,
Oh.
just based on the
That's-
original
looks like
letter.
letterhead, email letter, yeah. I don't
Yep,
think we
and-
have that.
And this is part of the meeting minutes from, the first item was to submit the full environmental assessment form. Obviously, you've given us a draft, you'll update that accordingly with whatever your final site design is, for consideration. Coordinate with the building department on waterfront overlay and signage laws to ensure compliance. Again, we've
We'll
discussed
continue to do
that.
that,
I
yep.
think there's, items pointed out, which may be a question, which you'll wanna,
I'm sorry, can I add to that for a second? I
Sure.
know you guys asked us to look into that after the last meeting. Joe and I did look into that with the clerk, the missing page. She believes it's just a header page. There's no actual detail of information on that page whatsoever.
But we really don't know for sure,
She-
short of getting a copy from the Department of State of what was
Right.
sent to
I
them.
think she actually put in a request to
Oh,
do so.
yeah.
But
Yeah, nothing yet.
it's believed that there's nothing relevant to this project on that page.
Okay.
okay. So if any new information is there, you'll be coordinating with the building department. Complete the city's design review checklist. You provided a preliminary copy, thank you, and you can update that with
As
your
we go,
final design.
yes.
Yep. Review and address pedestrian access from the northwest side of Margaret Street to the building. Sounds in general like the board's probably in agreement that needs to be reviewed further. You can take a look at that. Provide site alternatives for layout of the building with no parking in front. At least myself, I think I envision it more now that you've moved things back and maybe with some landscaping, a little more treatment, that may
The
work.
next submission will provide a landscaping plan so you can really see how this whole thing will lay out and how nice we can make it.
Okay, I don't know if there was any other comment on the board in that regard.
No, I'm happy,
Okay.
as long as we got some landscaping there.
Looks like this, yeah.
See, review on-site stormwater management design, provide to the board.
Ultimately, I guess that will sort of go hand in hand with, possibly with your dumpster location.
It does, it's everything in the site, it's so tight, goes one works
Yep.
with the other, absolutely.
So, we do have a third-party review process specifically for stormwater management. So the sooner you get that done, we can consider that. Provide an alternate rendition for the proposed building design. I think I've given my general comments. I think a couple other board members have given some general comments as well. Does anybody have anything else to offer?
You know, I guess the puzzle I have with the site is that we're going to a smaller building, increasing parking and impervious area at the expense of green space, which is a challenge for me on, you know, what is one of the best viewscapes in the city, and a jewel of a location for people to be outside and enjoying the lake. And yeah, so I don't know how that's a tough nut to crack maybe. But that is, that equation is going in the wrong direction for me.
I gotta drill down and find out exactly what.
So we're going from, 30.
Minimum green space required is 40%, your existing's 42.5, and it's this variance that you're talking about. I'm trying to read the font.
So we're reducing green,
38%.
yeah, so we're reducing green space at the, in order to get a few more parking places. We're talking about, square footage, we're talking about pretty small areas, but I guess I'm wondering if there's some kind of alternative landscaping and site design that would take advantage of the view and the location and the desire to have this space be, part of what we love about that location.
Okay.
So Marissa, you were reading the tables.
I'm
Where
trying
were we
to
going from?
read the tables. Of course, they've been shrunk down
Yes.
pretty small.
So I've got it bigger here.
Existing is 42.5, required is 40%, and they're
dropping it
looking
down
at
to
38.
And then
of
parking
green
goes
space.
from 39 to 46.
Yeah.
So we're losing green space in order to get parking,
Parking
but on a
space.
site in which the building footprint is being reduced, right? So it shouldn't be, so it should be relatively simple to solve, right?
And if your minimum
Well,
is
they
increase
42,
that
what
green
if we
space.
just provide 42, as
Well-
opposed to providing 46?
McDonald's making a sizable investment in the property, and parking is part of the customer experience, and we're trying to take it full, make the customer experience as enjoyable as possible, and providing adequate parking is a real part of that customer experience. So we would expect sales to go up, turnover to go up, volume to go up, which means we need more parking than perhaps you see in its current.
Well, maybe, but the existing is 39, the required is 42, so you're still getting an increase. And I think part of what makes this site enjoyable for customers is not the parking, but is the lake.
Don't you need those extra spots that people would just park there and hang out for 4 or 5 hours?
I would think you could throw them off the property.
Honestly, I mean, that-
It's not a public beach.
In the picnic area?
It's not a public beach.
I am not disputing that at all. I absolutely
I
understand.
myself, so I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The reality is, though, people do tend to park there and linger.
Yeah.
And spend excessive, how long do you normally spend at McDonald's inland? 30, 35 minutes with your
Right.
kids, and you're in and out.
Yeah.
Here, they do like to linger and spend more time.
Part of that should be eliminated with the elimination of the playscape, right? I mean, is that part of the attraction?
No, it's the lake.
That's very limited at this point.
That's why
So, but-
that's why we're not replacing the play
Sometimes
place, it's not.
people try to turn our site into a public beach, so we want to have more spots for them to use that.
So look, I am not an architect, I am not an engineer, and I am not a marketer for McDonald's, right? But as I hear you talk, what I hear you saying is people are coming for the lake, and you've, eliminated the possibility of coming for the reason you say they're coming, right? I mean, the lake and that view is it. It's not 4 additional parking spaces. Is what I hear you say, right? They're coming for the lake and they're spending 4 hours.
Coming for your car.
At the beach.
They're using your site as a beach or using it to park and go to the city beach?
No, they beach right down.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
They're going through the beach right in front of the property.
So I think ultimately it's a balancing point to consider. I mean,
It is.
you
It
are.
is a fine line, yeah.
You are going for a variance for part of this, I believe, for.
And no guarantee you're gonna get it.
For
having
coverage,
spent 20
so,
years on the
I
zoning
mean,
board, so.
it's something to consider, and then we
Yeah.
do have, one, if not more, members that maybe have question about reducing impervious, area on the site. Is that,
Yeah, or I mean, I guess I'd frame it as increasing green space.
increasing green space?
Right.
Okay, no. Okay.
But there's a tension there. I get that.
So, not sure, did we finalize any comments on the building?
I like your idea of, we'll call it the in and the out, the,
Okay,
Dimensions.
to,
not so flat in
Reduce
terms of
the-
its
reduce it
outside
from-
walls. Yeah.
okay. So
Interest.
maybe if you can consider an alternative to the design where you don't have straight box design, and maybe does have some movement of the walls in and out, and give it a little bit of, breaks the building up a little bit.
Flare.
If you can consider that, great. Provide an alternate to the dumpster location, and then provide sufficient detail. And once again, I think we've discussed that. Coordinate with the appropriate city departments in writing. That's.
That'll be ongoing throughout the process.
Yep. Couple of the other additional items, bike rack.
Yep.
And bike access. Site lighting, which I am sure is forthcoming. And outdoor seating. Considerations. I'd assume also, as part of the final design, will you also be providing like a turning movement plan? You know, for trucks and.
Absolutely.
You know, see, I noticed in some of your radiuses, it looks like you already planned with some.
You see the mountable
concrete
curbing?
apron.
That's the
Yeah,
reason why.
Yeah,
Yes.
some of that you already seem to address.
Yep.
And I believe that generally addresses our comments.
I think so.
Okay.
Anything else?
I like the earthy colors.
Say that, guys.
I like the earthy colors.
Thank you.
It's much more natural and appealing.
Okay. All their
Thank you very
comments?
much.
I actually did
Oh.
have, I apologize, did have one other thing. I believe this was read into the minutes the last time. This is from the county planning board.
What's the use of the lake?
Yeah, it was their comments towards, yep.
The dining room, yes.
This location.
Dining,
is
oh,
extended
yeah, I
to
remember
May
that.
to come in May. This valuable asset should be incorporated into the design of the building. The applicant is encouraged to make seating or tables available with lake views from this new structure. Sheridan Gardner, chairperson of the county.
Which I think goes in line with some of our general comments. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
So one person steps out, you? You're gonna step out? Okay.
And you're leaving, huh? For the next two?
So we
Well, that
have
must be nice.
item number 4, which is planning board application 2018-22, 206 US Oval. This is a historic site review. Request to remove collapsed boiler room and chimney structure at 206 US Oval.
Applicant is Lake City Holdings, plan preparer is Neil Facette, and we do have a long form seeker.
And we have a recusal and a alternate coming
Alternate
on.
board person.
Okay, so we do have one recusal, Reg.
Reg?
Reg, my man, there you go.
And then alternate board member, Reg Carter, to fill in the vacancy.
They did the same thing in this seeker.
Yeah, Reg.
This, yes, see?
Yeah, I know.
Supposed to be a no. I know, I
Thanks.
had that.
Thank
I
you.
had it too.
Okay.
All right, my name's Scott Ransom, I'm the property manager for Facette Realty. We've been in talk with the building inspectors and Joe and Kyle mostly about making the property more secure. So we've agreed with them to tear down the chimney and the old boiler room that has collapsed and fill the area in so that there's no access through the lower area there into the basement. Other than that, we've already demised the rest of the building with locks and stuff. We plan on removing some of the low stairs to the porches. But this is the main area that we're concerned about in the main. So we've got a contractor lined up to do that. We would demolish the chimney, collapse the rest of the boiler, haul the debris away, fill it with sand level, and do whatever we need for landscape, we have grass or whatever. Okay, so.
Okay.
What do you have doing this for you, this work, this demolition?
Use Mark Bro. Do you know Mark Bro?
No, I've heard of the name.
He does a lot. He did the site prep at the Chick-fil-A.
Mark
So
Burrell.
he does a lot of this
Okay.
type of work.
Okay. You have a plan from him on how you're gonna do this when you do a demo project like this? This is an easier project to put a plan together, how he's planning to do it. Any asbestos, dust suppression, no off-site tracking of debris when he's taking it down? I assume you're removing the debris, or no?
Correct.
Right. Any of those things to be identified, listed out?
No, I think we're relying on Mark to take care of that.
Okay, he can take care of that. Is he gonna write about it first and say, here's how I'm gonna do it,
You tell me I'm here, okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I like to see that. I've done a lot of demolition back in the old days, and somebody was always asking me for a plan of action, so,
I'll step that back one step back behind that, because we do, this property has been in front of us before, for almost the same application, back in 2013, October 2013. And where we left off, or the planning board left off, was tabling the historic application pending structural evaluation of the chimney and boiler room walls by a professional engineer. That's where the board left it then.
October of 2013.
maybe it was.
October 2013, and that was when it, I believe it was represented. It was still Neil Facette as the applicant, but Robert King was the
Yeah,
was
okay.
the-
Yeah, I'll talk to Bob about that.
Yeah.
prepared that.
And then the seeker needs a whole redo.
A couple things. I think in that time frame, anything on the oval, we're reviewing this for historic. We have asked that applicants go to SHPO for review and comment on
What's the acronym?
SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office.
Yeah.
It's actually part of your deed restrictions that they need to be notified if you're planning on doing something, and knocking down part of it is definitely doing something.
So, I'd say, number one, obviously we have the historical letter about having a design professional, whether it's professional engineer, registered architect,
Engineer,
someone to look at this project and give an opinion and probably a plan.
A plan, not a long one, probably a couple pages.
Number two, State Historic Preservation Office review of what you're proposing. There was an application for a sign earlier tonight, which they took a month and went and got a comment letter from the state in regards to the sign. So similar, with a building modification like this, we probably do the same thing. Seeker application. The seeker application that originally came in had a number of blanks on it. That needs to be filled in a little more complete. I know that there was
He revised it.
something revised in the meantime, but I think
Oh,
you'll.
yeah, at 5:30.
Yeah, we didn't
We
get
don't
a-
have it.
we didn't get a chance to
So-
submit it to everybody, but, I think you'll be, coming back with additional information, so if you can have that, completed and all filled in, that would be great. One of the other things that I don't think was addressed before, and some of this comment might come up in your SHPO review, is, okay, once you demolish this off the building, what is your plan to finish that void in the building? Do you plan on salvaging the bricks off of the demolition to infill whatever voids in the building? Is it a big void? Is it just a doorway void? I mean,
Yeah.
It's just a doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by application, we're not necessarily clear on.
Repair and
What's-
upgrade
What's
of that.
happening to make it look better once you've gotten rid of the chimney? So.
Yeah.
The project is not a big project, and it's definitely a valid project to demo it before it becomes a bigger problem. Injures somebody, or injures the home. It's the location of your project in a historic, in all the check boxes you gotta go through. That's gonna make it a little more difficult, but definitely, from our standpoint, it is a valid project to do. It's just you have a lot of items to check off first.
The other thing that would also, I think, go a long way with the application is having something in writing as part of the application from the building inspector.
We do have a comment from the building inspector.
Do we have it in writing from them on
They
this?
didn't want me to apply until we got this.
Hand scratch?
It's
I think-
rating, hold on.
Yeah, I think we should, once again, it seems like you've done some good coordination with the building
Yeah.
department on this to come up with your plan. I think we should have something official from them in writing as part of the application, if you can coordinate with them.
Yeah, okay, they were contrary to that when we talked to them. They said, come here, then come back to us.
Oh,
That's why I'm here.
Okay, well, that still has to happen, but if you have, something a plan that they're supporting, you know what I mean, that you
Yep.
presented they're supporting, if they're willing to put
That's a good
that
thing,
back
yeah.
in writing to us, I think that goes a long way for board consideration.
Yeah.
Okay?
So we're postponing the application until he's ready to come back, basically. I think it's an open-ended,
I'd say
right?
that-
Do you need a motion for that?
I'd say we have a motion to table the application.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to make a motion to table the application, Planning Board 2018-22 for 206 US Oval, until at your convenience you have all your pieces and parts together and you can come back before us.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. Thank you for the input.
No, thank you. Do you have a second?
Second?
I'll second.
Second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love this project. Since you're leaving now.
So, yes, so this last application, I have to recuse myself.
Yes.
So
Okay.
John will be taking over the chair.
Yep.
And
Rich will keep me in
Loretta
line.
Yep.
will-
Yeah, I know you will.
No, Rick is also recused from this application as well.
Look at this guy, I'm telling you.
You're up.
Whoa. Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
I'll see you around. Stay warm.
You too.
Bye. Okay, Big Kevin.
Sir.
Have a seat. We got our board members attending here. We're all good. Got a full table?
Okay, thank you. We saved the easiest one for last.
I think so too.
It's a simple lot line adjustment.
Mm.
I think Scott went through the details with you.
Mhm.
We're moving a lot line, it's about 2 acres under this future vacant lot 3 for future development. Does not result in any
non-conforming lot issues
No.
in existing lot 4. And otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Our motion from the last meeting in November was to postpone the appeal until the next regular meeting, awaiting clarification regarding whether the action is a type 1 or an unlisted action per seeker. So did somebody
We did follow up on that.
research?
What'd you get?
Eva has the answer.
Eva has, she's frowning though.
She can't remember the answer, but the answer was, under the new regulations, it is a type 2 action, and even though it's in a historic district, it is not required to have a full seeker, and she said short seeker is acceptable.
Oh, good,
See, that's
good.
exactly what I was gonna say, Shirley, she just took the words
I
out of
would
my
say that too if I had to guess.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new seeker, which just became, as was just stated, that which just became effective in January of this year, did actually 2 things that affect this particular application. One is it called a lot line adjustment a type 2 action.
Okay,
So it's always type 2, seeker's not required, and that is irregardless of whether it is on, near, next to, contiguous to a historic site. It's a type 2 action in all cases. The other thing it did, and this is something that you may want to look at for your own internal work, is that it modified, whereas for years and years and years, anything historic or substantially contiguous to historic was automatically type 1. That rule changed. Now you have to be contiguous or on a historic, plus,
eligible.
no, well, that too, yes.
Yes.
But plus, meet the 25% threshold of type 1, which falls into a few different categories, like you have to have, for residential, you have to have 200 residential units, used to be 250, it's modified to 200. You guys gotta have so many parking spaces, it's like 500. So all these type 1 thresholds, generally large projects. So whereas before, everything historic was type 1, now you have to be historic and meet the 25% threshold.
Right.
So yes, it affects this project, and so we don't need to do seeker for 2 reasons, and I just throw it out there because I like you guys, and, you know, this is what we do. So, I mentioned that for future, but seriously, because it will
It's,
affect.
what we need is a decision tree. It's
Well,
an easy decision tree, which is
Right.
this, then
Yeah.
this,
This,
then
yeah, it's
this,
like an
and
algorithm.
so
Yeah.
that every time you make the right decision is what
Right,
they
and, you
need.
know, and not to drill down too deep on this, but I'm not sure, you'd have to look at it, but I think for your local, because some of the local, the historic site review is established in the local historic code.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure, but generally speaking for
Yeah.
historics.
and I know that we have, if you look at the Chris site, there's many, many more eligible sites, which we never ever looked at, substantially contiguous, or is it on, or whatever, was not even an issue. Eligible wasn't an issue. Now it's an issue,
Now it's an issue, right?
okay?
Another good point, yes.
So that's also part of the decision tree that needs to happen.
So we'll have to all be going to the seeker classes that we got bored with, because we heard it all over again.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
different.
Probably all want to
It's different, yeah.
check in and redo it. But
So
other
that
than
at least answers that question, thank you.
Yes, it does. A long, lengthy answer, I apologize, but.
So actually, if the application had really been looked at in October completely, it would have been the old seeker, as opposed to the January new
Yeah, I think
seeker?
it was completed in like last June or July, but became effective in January. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we're treating you under the new rules because we're in a new month,
Yes, a decision made today.
Good
okay?
timing.
Even under the old rules, it would have been considered unlisted, I think, and we still declared that it would have, a short seeker would have been fine under
Sure,
the old
right.
rules.
Yeah.
Short
Yeah.
form,
But unlisted also leaves us the option of,
There's the option.
we can
Asking-
decide to ask
asking.
for one.
Right.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Okay.
So anybody have any questions on the specific project? I think your best reference is that drawing right there. It's also shown up there. Basically, we're taking what remaining lands were on, as you can see, the old lot line there. Vacant lot that was part of new lot, or I should say lot 4. Is that part of that lot is now being given to lot
Other-
3?
Other lot, yes.
Yeah, right next door, which is currently vacant, correct, Kevin? I think there's.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
This.
Tennis courts are there and.
This project, because we have existing structures on lot 4, and they're connected, they have full connections to water, sewer, whatever, gas. This project does not impact any existing infrastructure connections to, correct?
That is correct.
Which makes sense. That's why I like this project. It's a nice project. Short and sweet and to the point. Does anybody have any questions on this? You wanna
Back
talk about?
to short form, mapper. Again, you know, let's see here.
That's a small map.
Is the site, does the site, I know the site itself, the site that it's going to be attached to, the new site, right? No, hold off. Which way is it going?
We're moving the property from the lot 4, the ROTC building.
Over to the empty lot.
To the empty
From
lot.
the built
Yeah,
lot to the
they're
empty lot.
gaining. The empty lot is
So the
gaining.
gaining lot is the
Right.
empty lot, okay. And does the site contain a structure that's on the Register of Historic Places? The answer is no, okay. Because it's empty, it's got a tennis court on it.
Tennis court,
Yeah, but it actually touches the oval, so I'm wondering if, is it still in the Oval Historic District, even though it doesn't have a structure on it? It's my understanding that it's a donut, correct?
But, and you're right,
Yeah.
it is in the US Oval Historic District.
District.
But again, I would refer you back to.
Just keep clarifying, that's why you're here.
Yep, that's a good question. But because of the fact that the lot line adjustment, so in other words, not the location, but the
Right.
nature of the
Right.
action,
Yeah.
Right. Is-
makes it a type 2.
Well, I'm saying, yes, it's a type 2, and that's why you didn't have to do a long form, but the
Well,
question
type
is
2
part
means you don't have
one.
to do any seeker at all, actually.
Okay.
Now, if you wanna, but I don't object, I mean, the city staff did their due diligence, they researched it with the DEC said treat it with a short form seeker, and I don't object to that. If you
Okay.
wanna have
That's
them
what
do
I
it.
would have done
I
for
have
my
no
client. Yeah.
objection to that.
And we're
Yeah.
gonna clarify, the mapper, as usual, is giving the yes answer to archaeological sites, okay? So, we should look at that and say, okay, is there really anything archaeological except tennis courts there? Maybe, maybe not. This board has no evidence that there are
Either way,
archaeological
no.
sites
No.
there. So
And-
even though you've answered yes, we have looked at it. That's what I'm saying. This board can't just ignore that answer of yes. Because once you've filled out the form, you've given us some answers which we need to look at.
Sure. I would, I don't disagree with that. I would point out that the nature of the action is non-intrusive, so would seem to be
Right.
no potential for disturbing.
For that.
Right.
Based
Right.
on the lot line adjustment.
So we recognize yes, maybe, because the mapper says so, but no effect. Okay. Just want that in the minutes. It'll never get
Well,
typed
I
up.
don't know, they're gonna get that detail typed up for you, pal. All right.
Okay.
I'm assuming we have to do the part 2, correct me if I'm
You
wrong,
know,
Marissa?
we never do.
I used to do this at the town of Peru. We used to
We-
do this.
You know, what we used to do, I'm gonna tell you on the zoning board, of course, was we'd have a quickie motion that says regarding part 2 of the short form
Correct.
seeker, we find that every answer for questions 1
Is
through
no,
11
no or
is no
small,
or small
no or
impact.
small.
And I make that motion and the board agrees.
And I would agree with you,
Okay,
too.
and then we just go through the steps like that. That's the most efficient way to regard this, okay?
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to make that motion that regarding this application,
Correct.
on page 1 of 2 of the impact assessment, questions 1 through 11, the board finds that there is no to small impact, and we
Impact
authorize you
from
to
this
check those
project.
boxes.
Right.
That's
Can I have a
motion.
second for that?
Actually, I think Marissa made the good motion.
I made the
Yeah,
motion.
I know.
He's asking,
Oh,
he's
okay.
acting as the board chair and asking for
Jimmy's here,
somebody
he
to
left-
I'm
second.
so used to him seconding.
know,
you,
I know.
sorry.
All right.
Second.
I gotta do something here.
Here's
Come
a
on.
second, right here.
All right, there we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Okay.
opposed? Good, we're
And
good.
regarding page 2 of 2 of the determination of significance, I make a motion that you are authorized to check the box that, give me a second, I have to make sure I'm
I
picking the
know.
right one. We have determined, based on our analysis and supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
Mhm.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good.
There, that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Okay, that's very good, I appreciate that. You're the seeker queen, I love you for that, that's great. Back to the project now, can I have a motion? Unless anybody else has any other comments or anything like that, this is a simple lot line change. I had a few engineers
like
back
to-
in the day,
yeah.
that's all they did was lot line changes,
Yep.
so.
I'd like to make a motion regarding appeal 2018-23 for 64-70 US Oval to allow the lot line adjusted as proposed in the application.
You made that motion? And can I have a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I see Kurt giving the eyeball over there. What are you doing? Yeah,
I'm
you
okay.
good with it?
He's
Okay, he's
okay.
good.
He's
Just
just not
checking with you,
loud.
buddy. All right, Jimmy leaves me flat here. I gotta check with you, you know? So, all in favor? Aye, so we're
Yes?
good.
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you all
Bada
very
bing.
much.
Yes.
Here we go.
That was the easiest one. Thank you for leaving that for the end.
Next time I'll get it early.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, yeah, I'm getting there. A little chit chat
Don't
here.
know much about
Okay.
the details.
Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, or considerations for this meeting today? Nothing?
I'd like to just bring up the,
Oh, see, you had
That doesn't
something.
have to be on the record.
Aren't you
Okay.
glad I threw that out?
That I'm sure you've been getting the Planning Federation flyers, and that the upcoming
Thanks, Kevin.
Planning Federation training is coming up, thank God, after April 15th. That's the one thing I always look at
Planning
every year.
Federation?
Can I go?
Yeah?
And I'm guessing the city probably doesn't have any money to send us,
We put
okay?
in, I wanna say close to 2,000 in the budget to
Really,
help.
but.
Really?
Can we
Where's that
actually go? It's, down near Saratoga?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How long is
It's
it?
it's definitely worth it.
It's like you can go for one night and get a lot of it, so it's a day and then a half a day, but you gotta spend the night,
You gotta
because
spend the
nobody
night
wants to
there.
drive down to Saratoga and back, or Albany and back, whatever, and, you know, for the classes.
Absolutely.
And the price is interesting, because it's like, if you just go for the Monday, they charge you like $220, and if you go for the whole full 2 days, it's like $235. It makes you go, and then they have a whole selection of classes that you can jump back and forth from. It's very good. It's very
Sounds
good.
wonderful.
But we need to
Where's it held?
make commitments. Where is it? Is it
Is it at the conference
Gideon
center?
Putnam? Sagamore.
Oh, well, that's not far, so it's not down Saratoga. Okay,
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's close.
Yeah, well, close is relative.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway.
Bolton Landing.
Yeah. And so the flyer's been coming out, and I read it, and again, one of the classes is the new seeker, okay?
Dr. Jack.
And we are required to have 4 hours minimum of
Yes.
training. And say you go and you went for the whole day and a half, and you end up with,
Hi,
say,
Kevin.
12,
Take it
10 or
easy,
12
Kevin.
hours, those hours carry forward. So you fulfilled 2.5 years' worth of your training requirement in one chunk, okay? Plus, it's just really good training.
Sagamore's gorgeous, why not?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
So
think
I'm
there's
just
enough in the
mentioning
budget
it's,
for everyone to go.
no, but it's coming up, it's coming
So
up,
if you guys
and
could maybe express interest via email, that way I can try to.
start budgeting it out, right,
So.
okay? That was my only question. Training,
That's it?
yeah.
Kurt looks like he wants to say something.
No, I can usually find my own funding for this one, because it,
That'd be
you know,
helpful.
it's so much what I do.
Yeah, and I just said, I
There
would
you
be,
go.
I would be
Big Daddy's
self-funded
got
as
the
well.
money.
Yeah.
There you
Okay,
go.
well,
Yeah.
I'm not Big Daddy.
Big Daddy's got the money. Don't worry, we're all right.
There are Big Daddies above me than Big Daddies. Cool. So, yeah, but that would free up space, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Eva, are you planning?
I haven't talked to Matt about it.
I know I left it on your desk.
Yeah,
Your
no,
chair.
see, it looked interesting. I haven't talked to Matt about it from a budget perspective.
When is
Neither
it?
am I.
You think you're gonna go?
I'd
April.
like to, because usually it
should.
doesn't fall after
Yeah.
April 15th.
Bring me back some stuff. You
Maybe
know
It's
what I mean?
before
So,
April 15th,
Yeah.
but we never go.
I thought it was
I
like
know.
April 8th and.
No, it's like the,
Tax time's a
late,
killer.
it's like 21st or something.
Of
It's-
April?
It's late.
You're fortunate, yeah. Take a little vacation.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
April 28th or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd
it's
be
late
good.
this year,
Then you don't
yeah.
have to deal with snow.
Right.
Well,
Does anybody,
With an 8 in the number.
does anybody have anything else? No? Can I have a motion to adjourn meeting? Good meeting, everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second, bada bing,
Second.
everybody? Yeah, there we go, hey.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
where's it, can I see?
Eva, can you
Gotta
maybe
stop leaving.
Yeah, how do I make you do that?
all the way to the right?